Hi everyone. So this video is going to introduce you to LaTeX if you are using Microsoft Word. So be sure that if you want to follow along, best that you have the latest version of Word installed, and you do have access to it, even if you are a UMass student or if you're just taking this course one time, you do have access to Microsoft Word. So if you go to, so if you don't have it already, if you go to it.umass.edu, right, that will, you click under students and you can follow the instructions to download Microsoft Office. I don't know if you can actually just do Word itself, but and I think you have to actually download it. I don't think that the features work the same if you're doing Word in the, I don't know, the cloud or whatever it's called online. So, and I think too, even if just besides, following what all my screen looks like, I think it's only, I don't know how many of the latest versions, it might just be the newest version that actually you can do direct LaTeX. So you might have to do make sure you have the most up to date version to actually use this. All right, so basically what I have in this document is I kind of looked at everything we've done in the first 10 lessons, and I tried to think of every single possible thing you might need to use. And compiled it in here, so as a good kind of index for you. And don't feel like you have to type in everything yourself. If you want to copy and paste stuff, go right ahead. That's what I do. There's no sense, especially if it's a long, something long. Why waste the time trying to do it all over again? So it's a good resource for you, and it's a good resource for me because I try to put these things nice and neatly into the slides that I show during the lesson presentations. So the first thing I'll point out is there's not a lot. Some things are just not special, right? So simple math things like the plus sign. If you just want to show a plus, you just type the plus in. Nothing special. Same thing with the minus, the equal sign, the parentheses. So a lot of things are very intuitive, and you'll start, seeing the patterns, and then you'll even be able to guess a lot of times what, if you don't know what something is, you'll be able to guess, and often you can be right. So one thing here is with the parentheses. So I have these parentheses and I have these parentheses. So the difference is if you just hit the parenthesis button like you would normally do, the Shift 9 button, it'll put things in parentheses. But if you want it to look nicer, like if you have something big in a fraction, it won't automatically make them nice and big to fit the fraction like this. So it'll look a little weird. And we're not going to mark you off for not doing the big ones, but I think part of the reason why we are teaching in LaTeX is to learn a skill that you can actually use to help you be more professional when you're submitting documents that require special characters and equations. And so if you really want to take full advantage of this part of the course, then get used to doing this, so that when you actually, if you ever actually have to use it in the future, and trust me, you never know when you might actually need to use something that you wish you'd learned later, then get in the habit of doing it now, right? And so it's just slightly different, and you can see here. Well, first of all, let me point out the slash. All right, I guess that's the backward slash, right? Not the forward slash. Is sort of the start for every special kind of code that you do in LaTeX. So rather than just doing the regular parentheses, oh, oops, what was that? No, it's trying to tell me I did something wrong. All right. Then rather than just doing the parentheses, you go /left and then the parenthesis, and then it makes a big parenthesis. Okay, and you just need to use a little space there. So for instance, if I double click on this, and what you'll see here is you have this arrow you can click on, and it'll show you different things. And so the ones that I use really are just professional and linear. So when you click professional, that shows you this mode here. If you click linear, it'll show you all the actual code. All right, and so yeah, so for this, in this instance, the space is not necessary, but there are going to be some instances where it is. So I typically always leave a space anyway. And so yeah, you can see the /left, and then to close that, to get the right parentheses, you go /right, and then the right parentheses. Okay, and you'll notice here it's slightly different from what I put here. I just put AB. So with a fraction, if you just have two things in a fraction, it'll just come out like that. So for instance, let's say if I want to put this back to professional, I just click that, back to professional. There we go. All right, so let me show you how to actually do one, and then I'll explain why that's different from what you saw there. So if you want to create an equation, you go up to the top, and then there's the insert button there, and then where it goes, you have to widen this out a bit. There we go. So then you have equation. So if I click on equation, and then over here, so there's different things over here, and there's all kinds of stuff in Word. So you don't have to do everything in LaTeX. All right. If there's things that are already there, go ahead and use them. All right. You don't have to create everything from scratch. But some things you can actually do with just the templates that they have there already. So there's a couple different things here, and you're going to want to click on LaTeX with the parentheses there, and then that'll open up down here this box where you type in the equation. So let's see here. So I did, to make a fraction, I did \frac for fraction, should make sense. And then I just let's do A, B. Keep it similar, capital A, capital B. And then if I click on professional, that shows our fraction, A over B. But what if I have more than one thing in the denominator or numerator? Oh, look, and it already changed it there for you. So that's convenient. So what if I do, how does it know that I want to do AB over CD as a fraction? Right? It doesn't know exactly what I'm doing. So the first two, it'll automatically think of it as a fraction, and then it'll just do the rest of them in line. So you can see here, it's already put those into these brackets. And so if you have more than one thing, then put the top one is in its own bracket, and then right after that, the bottom one is in a separate bracket. Okay, so numerator is the first bracket, denominator is the second bracket. And you always got to make sure you have a closed bracket, or it could give you some sort of error. So then we click on professional, and bang, now I have what I wanted. All right. So some typical math symbols. So here's more of the fraction itself with the brackets, like we just did up there. And so one interesting thing you can look at. So with scientific notation, there's something slightly different. It sort of does the same thing as with the fraction. So let's say I want to write the speed of light. So let me go insert equation, and the speed of light is c equals 3, and then the times is just backslash times. You can do an x if you want. That's fine. I'm not going to mark you off for that. But if you're trying to learn this and be professional, go ahead and get that practice. And it's you're already in the equation editor, so you might as well just hit a couple extra buttons. All right, so 3 times 10 to, all right, and a lot of you know the caret already, how to do that, 8, and it's meters per second. Okay, so we can check, see if we did that right, click professional, and there we go. And one thing that is not as noticeable here, but we'll see in a little bit, that the m for meters is really close to the 10 to the 8th, okay? And so, I'm not going to mark you off, but to me, it just sort of looks a little squished. So the way to do that, and you can see it even changed that for you. So you don't have to put it in if you don't want to, but what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put just a plain backslash in by itself, right? Separated by a space in the front and a space afterward. Okay, and that backslash by itself is going to give us a nice little space. Okay. So now we see there's a bit more space. Well, if I think that looks good just the way it is, but if for some reason you want more space, well, let's just do another, right after the backslash, a space, a slash, another space, slash, another space, slash. So the more slashes, the more space you're going to end up seeing. Okay. Well, that looks like way too many spaces. So let's get rid of those. I think the one space looks fine enough. Okay, and you can see, before I click on professional, you can see that it didn't put a space there, but because that's okay. I kind of prefer, personally, I prefer the pages version because it lets you do it a little bit more. It looks neater and it's easier to work with. But yeah, if you don't have it, you don't have it. But here it kind of forces you to, it squishes things in as much as possible. I prefer to separate things, but this is what you have. So you actually see here, you didn't need that space before. But if we turn to professional, okay, we're back to normal there. But let's see what happens if I back to linear. What happens if we take this extra space out here after that slash? Okay, all right, look, now it's 10 to the 8 over m. That's not what we want. So you do need that space there after. Put all this junk in there for us too. Right. There we go. All right. Well, what if we wanted to do? So this is where I was talking about the. So what if I wanted to do 10 to the 80th? Okay, well, let's see what happens if we do that. All right, well, see, just like the fraction, I put that 0 down there. So if we want to make it the way we want it, then we're going to have to put it into brackets. Right, there we go. Okay. And then superscripts, subscripts, you're probably familiar with the caret, and you probably would have guessed the underscore for doing subscript. Now Greek letters, okay, it's essentially the slash and the word, whatever the letter is, right? Delta, delta. And so there's a difference, there are Greek uppercase and lowercase letters. So you don't, if you want to get the triangle for that symbol, like change in time or time interval, displacement, change in position, then you have to use a capital delta, because if you were to say equation, if you were to do slash lowercase delta, that's going to give you that. So that's not what we want to use. Right, and of course, the vector, I showed you this in a lesson already, but I don't worry about that too much. I think if you're gonna, depending if you really need to, most people don't really worry about the arrow, but if you go to work for somebody that does worry about it, then definitely do it. Okay, and so looks like something's not right in this one, because it should be I hat, the unit vector I hat. So let's see. Oops, what happened there? Linear. Oh boy, something went wrong there. All right, so let's start over then. Try to make the I hat. Insert equation, and then it's just backslash hat space I. All right, now we got our nice little I hat there. It's a little small. We can make that a little bigger if we want. Oh, what happened? Let's try to change the size. All right. Oh, well, I can do that one. There's a way to do it. We won't mess with that now, though. All right. So what would happen though if I did? So we saw earlier that with the parentheses, you could just do slash left and then the parentheses without leaving a space. But what if I did hat I without leaving a space? All right, it just leaves it as slash hat I, so it doesn't recognize it. So we need to have that space in there, basically because there's two letters, right? So then that fixes that. All right, I put some constants in here for you. The ones we've used so far are, displacement, time interval, all the equations that we've used so far for speed, velocity, acceleration, all the uniform motion stuff, the constant acceleration stuff. So like you can see for this constant acceleration equation, right, it's very convenient to just copy paste. Okay, so definitely by all means do that. You don't reinvent the wheel every time. So on the take home, and we'll have separate video on more instructions about doing the take home, but just to show you a little bit of application for that. Well, let's say that you're solving a problem, and what might it look like? So let's say you need to use this first constant acceleration equation. All right, well, you copy it from there. I could just copy it from here. All right, so I'll do a copy, and then, right, so maybe I'm showing my work. I'll do insert equation, copy paste that, become professional, and So why is it doing? There we go. Oh, I gotta click that. Okay. So however you want to do it. If you want to center it. Doesn't matter. So that's the equation you want it to use, right? Let's say that you're actually solving for the time interval. So, all right. So let's go then, and so the next step would be rearrange to solve for delta t. Okay. So I'll do delta t equals, and then it's going to be v final minus v initial over a, so it's going to be a fraction. So I'll do slash frac, and then I'll do my open bracket. V final will be v underscore f, right? And then minus v underscore I. Close the bracket. So now my numerator's done. Denominator is just a, right? Close bracket. So then that should look like we want it to. Yes. Right. And then let's see. Then we would go in and we can actually, let me just copy this whole thing. Copied. All right, so I copied that. Still needs us to insert equation. Copy that, and then that's not. What did I copy the wrong stuff? All right, so this copy. I'll paste it. All right, so now it's in the mode we want it to be in. And so let's say that this was 5 meters per second was the final speed. And pushes everything together. I don't like that, but. And then let's say the initial speed was 0 meters per second. And maybe the acceleration was 4 meters per second squared. Okay. And so then now it shows all our numbers are put in there. Okay. And now you can see a little bit more clearly what I was talking about earlier. See how the 5 and the m are kind of squished together. Oh, look at that. Especially the 0 and the m are really squished together. So, like I said, I'm not going to mark you off, but I think it's good to do, right? So it really will make it look nicer, and it's just a couple extra clicks of the button. And you'll be able to follow your work a lot easier too when you do that. Oh, it looks so much nicer, doesn't it? All right, and so the next step, I mean, you could do 5 meters per second divided by 4 meters per second squared. I don't think that's really worth the time, but you could. So I'm just going to go straight to the next step, which would be 5 divided by 4. Right. So I'll insert equation. There's not much left, so I'll just type it out, and you can see. I'll do it quick here, so you can see. Just once you get the hang of it, it's really, you just bang it right along. Okay. 1.25. And I'll do a space here for my units for seconds. All right, so, and there you go. I think you're that's enough right there. You don't have to show how all the units cancel, but I think it's always good to put your units in there so you could follow what you were doing, make sure you were doing it right. But you'll see that the meters all cancel, and then one of the seconds cancels, and that final second pops up in the numerator. So we're left with seconds. So yeah, that would be about all the work you would have to show for that. And if you'd like, you can go ahead and add, some, if you want to type in some notes about, what you did, maybe you're kind of struggling, you weren't quite sure if you did it accurately, then definitely put some notes in there and help us understand what you're thinking, and that could help you get more points back. So yeah, the more you show, the more possibility you have to get a better or perfect grade. So and so part of this is you're learning a skill here that we're putting as part of this course, and the other part is just so that we as the graders can actually read and understand what you're saying, because a lot of times it's really hard to follow when people just do their handwriting, take a picture or scan it in, and too often we see students losing points because we just can't understand what they're trying to say, and everything's so messy. So this eliminates that, and so we're not going to accept if you write it up by hand and scan it in or take a picture of it. That's not acceptable. It won't be accepted. So this is necessary to do this. But if you do want to do a sketch, by all means, take a picture of that, scan it in, and put it in over here or somewhere. You know how to upload things, pictures and scans to documents. So go ahead and do that. The more stuff you show, the better it's going to be. The better chance you're going to have that we understand what you're saying, and we can say, okay, well, we really understand. We could see that you're on the right track, and we don't have to give you a 0. Okay, so that's part of the take home, and is this kind of open response. So that gives you some opportunity to not have to lose all the points, just because you made one silly mistake. All right, so that's basically an introduction to using LaTeX, and I'll make another some more videos to practice this out, and we'll go over more when we talk about the redo for the exam and the take-home portion. We'll go over more of what everything should look like, what a good example of a take-home looks like, and what a bad example looks like, so you have an idea of what you should be submitting for that, and for the redo if you choose to do that. And we'll keep updating this document, so you have more and more things in there, and we'll show you some more examples of how to keep using this. And if you already know this, you feel comfortable and you're just ready to go, and you don't want to listen to me anymore, you're just comfortable Googling how to make something in LaTeX, go for it. You don't have to watch me. This is just a resource I'm trying to provide for you if you don't know how to do this already. So however you want to do it, that's up to you. All right, so then I will see you next time.